I have to ask you this. When you're interviewing, did you know who the bar racer is?
Oh, absolutely not. And I do not care about that.
My name is Holly Lee. I'm a career coach. My goal is to help you land position in your dream company of choice. I call them member instead of clients that I've had in my VIP coaching program. Him kind of transform. But rather than me telling about his story, I would love to introduce Irfan to you. You are by far probably the number one most highly ambitious person I have ever met because you were very hungry. The hunger was there, the drive was there, and you just needed to be positioned in the right coaching style in order for you to get from zero to landing a job at AWS. With that in
Mhm.
mind, I would love it if you take a moment and
Sure.
introduce yourself to us.
Sure, absolutely. Thanks, Ollie, for this opportunity and the kind words, of course. Just about my whole career background. Went to a small public school in Texas. There, I used to work in, data center operations for AT&T when they first launched LTE. Joined Deloitte in a more business role where I was helping our clients understand the value of cloud, what are the different strategies they can utilize moving to cloud, building business cases, and also building products that can add that has added impact and value to our clients. Within Amazon, I am a product manager for their Amazon Partner Network. So, in essence, what I do, in a very simple words, I help
There's
uh,
no such thing as
Amazon
simple at
build.
Amazon.
In a very simple words, like I say that I help our partners become valuable AWS partners, and then in turn they can add value to our customers. And adding value to our customers is the most important thing for as an Amazonian and for our partners.
What was your situation prior to joining AWS?
Say pandemic has been hard for all of us, with 2020 viewed for Amazon in a very a senior technical program manager. I would say back then, of course, overall the feedback was, great, but I was not selected, and I was a little bit struggling with the storytelling and bit of like how to convey your point in a very concise manner. So, and before, and I interviewed for another couple of positions within Amazon, which the feedback was okay, but not enough for me to the next round.
I woke up and suddenly all the ex Amazon become career coaches. We're talking about from recruiters to program manager, product manager, engineers, bar racer. Basically, everyone is a career coach. So, how did you end up in my VIP coaching program?
We think we can do everything on our own, which I think that sometimes is not productive because I felt like pandemic happened even in my own personal relationships. I realized that it's always okay to ask help because sometimes you don't know what you're doing. You think you're doing right, but there's always somebody to kind of push you back and say, hey, maybe this can change. And sometimes very small tweaks can gather huge results. Then I watched some of the YouTube videos, and that really helped me gain a lot of clarity on who you are. And I always say that, so it's more about, I mean, I looked at different coaches as well, of course, their YouTube. I just felt like what you have given, it's a more like very pinpointed. It's like action guide. It's like this is what you need to do because of what I've seen other coaches is like you get lost in the maze. You have to sign up for their, I would say
Get lost in the maze.
a paid membership in some ways to get a lot of
Mm.
value, which I don't think is a lot of value. I was watching your videos, and if you remember, I wrote down all my stories, what I wanted, and then of course I felt like I'm ready to talk to you. Your VIP was life changing in some ways where I felt like one of you the biggest thing is, sometimes we think we are good, but once you put us in front of a panel like you had in a live coaching session in front of, I think that was really life changing because you really get to know what other people's are thinking by just watching their body language when you're
Mhm.
talking to people. So I think that that was really one life changing thing, is that feedback. You when the first time I was on the, I was like, huh, this is not right when I watched myself in the recording. So what I did was I sort of like went back and tried to unlearn the things that I learned in the past and be more humble and more like receptive to feedback. I mean, I would say working in a very consulting and very demanding industry, I'm very open to feedback. be tough. But I would say like if you are Holy Holy's member, like make sure that where you're open to very tough feedback because I feel that
Now, don't
even
don't scare my future prospect away.
what it means by tough feedback is that you should be open
Yep.
to their truth because if somebody's speaking to truth, at times it seems like a very tough feedback. So if you can handle Holy and the panel, I think that you should be fine in Amazon.
Doesn't
Mhm,
matter if you're senior professional, you have 10 years, 20 years, 30 years experience. They think they know how to get a job, especially the ones who are already at the FAANG company, which is about, I say every 1 out of 100. Most of the folks are like you with your unique background, right? From Deloitte and AT&T, and T, and I get Boeing and basically non-tech companies. But even the ones from FAANG company, no names because I don't exactly want to call out my
mhm,
executives. They are struggling with really the same way. It's funny for me to say this. The ones at the big companies that everybody wants to work at are struggling the exact same thing as the one who isn't and has never worked for the big
mhm,
company because they don't know how to write their story, articulate their story, and deliver their story.
mhm.
And I think those are the three things is the message. A lot of
Right,
people talk about the STAR method, how important it is, but if you Google it, no one really talk about how. A lot of people
right.
talk about explaining what STAR means, but
Mhm,
that's why I'm trying to create content on the free version, which is my YouTube, and the paid
mhm.
version, which is my VIP, and in return, help as many people as I can.
And I still use a star method within Amazon.
Mhm.
When I talk about certain thing that happened, and this is what my role in that, and this was what I tried to do, and the result was good or bad. Myself in the conversation with the people, so that way, like it's right, they are following my logic. I was in a situation where I was pulled into two different priorities. So my role was to really manage the stakeholder expectations and still deliver on the priorities. So I did this framework exercise to understand priority number one was more important than priority number two. So this is what I did was I delegated to my manager and said that my focus will be on priority number one. However, I took necessary steps to ensure that priority number two is still handled.
Now that you are actually an Amazonian for nearly a year, how has
Mm,
that helped you not just to land one offer, but you have multiple offer? And
yeah.
then in your day-to-day activity, has that changed for you?
It's a great question, Holly.
I
So
I
I
I
would
probably
say,
shouldn't say the STAR method because it
mm,
sounds like I'm copying someone else. I meant the way how I have trained the
yeah.
cohort with their communication skills, being
hmm
simplistic and being extremely concise with breadth and depth.
This is a great question. So, Holly, I would say like the biggest thing I've learned it's like communication style, right? Even though like I come from consulting, we talk about in very concise manner. We talk with all the tech companies. I've been in a tech company myself. I think it's more like sometimes when you're position, even though you're high performer, sometimes you put yourself in a position where confidence get eroded by a certain layoff. Even though you perform, you. So I think that coming into the biggest thing takeaway was like really like I worked on my delivery a lot. It's more like be able to be like just be concise and deliver my messaging, and the whole the story is very compelling, right? Me a lot of confidence that if these people who could be
Mhm.
future my coworkers or they can go and work for anyone else, because everyone had skills to be somewhere, right? So I think that was the biggest like confidence booster that I still have from your coaching, right? And the second thing I really gained out of it is like some of my friends that I got. Like I
Mm.
met Dipto in Arizona. I was just in there over the
Oh, you
weekend.
did.
Yeah, and then like of course I keep tabs on people on LinkedIn, so they mess come to me for referrals, for help. So it's always like good to have that community and that respect among like
Mhm.
healthy respect among my peers. I think that's really great to know that, sometimes we feel that when we are put in difficult situations, we feel that we are the only person in the world. But when you see other people struggling with the same thing, you develop that empathy,
Especially
right?
director levels, right? And you
Right.
think that maybe you're more junior, there's no such thing.
Yeah, to be honest, like, like working within Amazon for a year, I don't think that there is no junior and senior in a lot of
Mhm.
ways, as
Yep.
long as you are, as long as you are making decision with data, I'm sure like even at the top level, people would not question you, and actually they will look at you with respect.
Yep.
So, I always say like I think the my advice to anyone going for L6, L8, or whatever they want to be in the future is the same as your delivery, is how you deliver the message, um, and stay true to your background, stay true to yourself, and never like try to pretend who are you not, because it's easy to when people are looking at you, it's easy to catch that if you're faking stories, if you are faking
You were there
yourself.
when that happens, right, in the cohort? You remember.
Exactly.
Yep.
Very easy to recognize high performers and low performers. It's very easy. So you never really need to fake,
Mhm.
in any conversation, or you don't really need to tell people you're a high performer. If you cannot deep dive, there is a big understanding that, whatever you're saying is not true. So absolutely, I would say at any level, stay true to yourself and be authentic, and be and the best advice I got from my friend who's Amazonian, people want to work with nice people. Does
Mhm.
not matter how expert they are. And be humble, be authentic, be honest, and stay true to yourself.
Is when you're interviewing, did you know who the bar racer is?
Oh, absolutely not. And I do not care about that.
Good, yay!
And
But some bar racer will make an announcement to say, "I'm the BR." You don't wanna do that because that will freak people out.
oh no.
But seems like
Even if
you
they
have you
do,
have a very good one on your side. Do you feel like the type of question that's being asked, thinking back now that the BR who interview you and obviously inclined to thumbs up hire you and is your
Mhm.
mentor, do you feel like the type of question she was asking you during your interview is kind of similar to all the other interviewers?
I think it depends on bar raiser you get. There are horror stories of bar raiser you get, like you have to be a certain alpha personality to intimidate and scare people. I think good bar raiser will never intimidate or scare you.
I think
I
it's their
think
it's personality and knowing when to be humble and when
right.
not to be.
And I thought my manager was on the bar raiser. We had two people in one interview session.
You were going to get the job. And I told you that. I think I must have told you that almost every single week that you are going to
Yeah.
get every job that you've interviewed for. Answer this $1 million question.
Mhm.
So why Amazon for you?
Absolutely. I think it's I would always say Amazon is for people who are self-driven, motivated, and they're willing to work with ambiguity without directions. I think this is where I think if you are that self-starter, then I think you Amazon will be a great fit for you. And why personally with me Amazon, as you know, um, before joining Amazon, I have been working with Amazon was my account, and I was managing their account. I was building solutions for them. So I was very aware of their environment as well. So I felt like even though it's not a cup of tea for everyone, the way I work is, it was more, it resonated to me based on their leadership principles, such as customer obsession. We work backwards from the customer feedback to improve our product, services, everything internally, and we take pride in ownership, to the fault. So a lot of leadership principles, when I read it and I saw people exhibiting those principles, and it's one of the maybe only company in the world that
Hmm.
does that. So I think that was the one I was, I it compelled me to, uh, you know apply to Amazon, of course. And then that was one of the biggest motivating factor, to be really honest. Lights are blinding me.
Yes, I have